the recording up, and then I'll be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
By the way, this is a game I played a little bit below average. I still played around the average, but I just couldn't find any. This is the closest to average I actually found.
Alright. So up here, we kind of peek out. Looks like we like maybe check their comp, or no, we check the high ground real quick, and then we just kind of dip out. So one thing is just put some shots in there, right? Just shoot, like get some ult charge going. This just puts in damage, gets ult charge. No reason not to just shoot there when we, it's not like I don't think we were trying to hide anything and they all saw us. All right.
Okay.
Want to make sure we're not jumping into fire strikes. Okay, and then what? Can you remind me? This SR was platinum, right?
Yeah, it's about mid plat.
Mid plat, all right.
At the time of this game, I think it was 2670.
All right. So I'm not sure if this is going to be something that like is going to be a continuous thing, but just for the moment, this fight we just kind of really sit on the front line and kind of really far away too. So our positioning is kind of all out of whack at the moment, and then that's basically how we don't do anything in this fight, how we don't have an impact. So we'll see if this continues to be a trend, but as of this fight, we just kind of sit main and really far back, which we'll talk about positioning more in depth if this becomes a trend. But just for the moment, knowing that Tracer plays from the side and from a lot closer of a range than this, which here we're just kind of playing like we're a mid-range character, where Tracer isn't a mid-range character. So we kind of do the same thing here, right? And then we just kind of playing at mid-range, and then we're playing at a long range, and then we come in, and now we're at a kind of a more acceptable range. But at this point, the fight's already done, right? So we'll see how the fight goes next fight, or how our positioning goes next fight. But big thing there was just that we kind of weren't in a good position. Whereas coming out in from like maybe for example the high ground that we were on to start off would have been a lot better of a spot to be in. Okay, let's see. So we do have a decent amount of people, so I'm just checking to make sure like we actually had teammates with us before we were going in a touch. Yeah, okay.
I don't know why I went so far there.
You're trying to like, okay, we're trying to climb up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can say that the start, this is actually abnormal for me. This is painful for me to see.
You're good. All right, so we're at 2 minutes, and I think we're already gonna go over something here. So we're gonna go to the practice range. Just try to remember 2 minutes for me, because I have terrible memory, and I'll probably forget that. So we're going over to Tracer. All right, so here we're gonna go over something called crosshair placement. Are you familiar with the term?
Yeah, it's about having it at the right height, right?
Exactly, and I just want to, I'll still go over it just to get a refresher going, but then also just to point out that this is something we struggle with, and I'll point it out as we go along in game. And the big thing, the first big major part of crosshair placement is just making sure that we're keeping our crosshair at head level. Now, when we obviously headshots do a heck of a lot more damage than body shots do, and we want to make sure we're hitting headshots. And we're walking around currently aiming down here, which means that to hit headshots we have to adjust up and to the left or up and to the right. And the further you have to adjust your crosshair, the harder of a shot it is to hit than if you just go to the side a little bit, right? So we want to make these shots easier on ourselves, and it's also going to change our base. Like we were just shooting, spamming on a corridor, shooting into people, shooting into shields or whatever, right? All these shots are hitting bodies, but if we're now aiming head level, now we're just hitting all headshots just because we're aiming at that level. So we just want to make sure we're aiming at head level, so we're hitting headshots, right? We can also aim, the second step would just be aiming where we know people are going to be. So we know he's top right, so we're going to aim head level top right. So when he turns the corner, it's just very little adjustment, right? It's just very easy shots. We know he's left, so we're pre-aiming the left side at head level. So when we come out, it's very easy shots, right? Now these guys are over here. These guys are on a slope, right? So they're further down. So the same way on a Torb we'd look down, or on a tank we'd look up. These guys are going to look down a little bit. So when we turn the corner, we're already aiming at their head, right? So that's just crosshair placement. We want to make sure we're implementing that, because currently it does not seem that we are in the game that we're in. All right, so skip
2
forward here a
minutes.
little bit. Yep, 2 minutes. Thank you. So we can maybe look a little bit in the last fight. So here, like watch the tracking on the like Mercy, for example. Like when we go back in on her, kind of okay. So here we're gonna look up, and then here how we're kind of looking down below her, right? And then we're kind of walking around looking lower. Oh, and then we do this for a little bit. Right, so skip ahead even more. Right, so we skip to like here, and notice how we're looking down. We're looking down, right? You can just see the crosshair in comparison to other people here.
Yeah.
Make sure we're not continuing to try to engage after we're down so many people. Make sure we're paying attention to kill feed, or not kill feed. Sorry. Or yes, kill feed. Make sure we're paying attention to kill feed and not continuing to go in when it is a 1-2 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's anything but a like, if it's you versus any more than 2 people, that's not an engagement you want to take, right? There's just way too many people. We shouldn't be going in here, and then this is going to have a good chance that it could result in our death, right? Which just is going to stagger us further. And at the moment, there's just no benefit out of us trying to engage now rather than just waiting for our team to get back.
Okay.
Alright, so we're going on the flank. I like it.
Oh, by the way, I think I have my crosser so low just
Yeah.
because I don't really feel too comfortable with my tracking aim. So I want to be able to hit more consistently than just miss half of the shots on the head.
Okay, no. Okay, so so you're saying that you feel like you'd be more accurate if you're going for body shots?
Yeah, just because of a bigger hitbox.
Yes. So headshots, just plain and simple, make up the damage that you get from going for headshots. Very much makes up for any missed shots you make. On top of that, your people oftentimes underestimate how many shots you can actually hit into head. Like if you, as Tracer, like put all of your bullet spread into a head hitbox, you could probably hit every single shot into it. Like it's, as long as you're tracking like decently well. So you hitting headshots is going to make up for any shots that you're missing, and it's also forming good habits to where now you're going to learn how to track better while also hitting head level. You're never going to see a professional player who says, oh yeah, well I just wanted to hit all the, hit all my body shots, right? Instead, you're going to see them going for headshots because that's just more efficient. Now, let's say, like for example, you have a diamond player who is going for headshots. Well, now you're going to be very much outmatched by the diamond player, the diamond tracer player, because they have the same level of tracking that you have, except for they're now just going for headshots. And that's going to be, most players at a higher rank are going to be doing that. Not every single player, because of course every player has struggles with something. But you're going to have a lot of players the higher up in ranks that you go who are going for the headshots, and therefore are going to have a big, massive advantage over you because they're doing almost twice the damage of you, which is basically when you go for headshots, it's almost twice the amount of damage you're doing. Right, so
Okay.
I very much, if you go and take a look at any professional player's gameplay and watch their crosshair placement, and see, are they aiming for bodies specifically, or are they aiming for headshots? It's not to say that they never hit body shots. Body shots are kind of like a, if they're missing, they're hitting the body shot. Or if they're like, but anytime they are intentionally trying to go for the headshots, you're gonna notice they're going for a lot more headshots because that's where they're aiming for. Okay, so that would just be my big recommendation. Okay, so here we're engaging. Maybe we could look for a pulse here when we're going in. So let's watch that one more time. So first off, I'd like us to be paying attention to our team more often, as we're not engaging when our team is engaging. So at the moment, currently we go in before our team is anywhere near the fight, or they're decently near, but they're not. They have not begun. Which what that means is that now they can have more people turn around to look at us. Right, when we're engaging at a different time than our team, they can just all turn around and look at us. It's essentially as if we're just going in 1v6. Right. Now let's say we take this and let them push in first, let them be the distraction, and then we go in after that point. Well, now what that does is it creates a crossfire effect. Now they have to decide, do we look at Tracer or do we look at team? And then this splits their attention. It means that we are ultimately they're going to lose value because they're not going to know who to shoot at. We're going to have less people who are looking at us because now we can't have like 4, 5, 6 people turn around and look at us because they're going to be busy looking at our team. So this is going to greatly reduce the amount of pressure that we take, and it's also going to reduce the amount of pressure our team takes. But if we go in on our own, they can just have a bunch of people turn around and look at us, and then we die like very, very fast. So and then also on top of that, you'll notice that if we wait until our team engages or does something, they're going to be more distracted, and therefore the Hanzo's not going to be able to react to you as fast. And there's just going to be a lot more benefits when we actually wait for our team to engage. But a lot of the time, we're just continuously going in over and over and over again when our team is nowhere near ready to engage. So we want to make sure we're paying attention to our team and syncing up with them. Alright, so we're looking for a pulse here, probably. Hmm. Were we expecting them to go main?
I thought it would go main. The tanks didn't really call out where they were going, so I just
Yeah.
expected them to try and push in through there. So I just
Okay.
wanted to try and listen for if anyone either would go up the stairs or when they went through, so I could try and get someone in the back line.
Okay. So, I guess how do I how do I say this? I probably would say that we want to just not rely you want to have a play style that's not reliant on your team to call that something like that out. So yes, they like in a perfect world they would communicate that, but you're going to find in ranked oftentimes it's probably not going to be communicated. And if we're going to purely rely on teammates, like if we're going to rely on like a good way to say this is if we're going to rely on plat players, we're going to stay in plat, right? We don't want to have to rely on the callouts of our tanks, so therefore we want to make sure that we are paying attention. So in this instance we just don't really like if we're, for example, we're noticing that like that we saw them like a second ago, but like we don't hear any of them for like a good like 5 seconds. Like we knew that they were coming down. Like why would they not be here faster? Right. That's a situation where maybe we can guess, okay, maybe they went up top. We also here just kind of still stay AFK after we see like you see Sigma like through the walls. So you can kind of see what your team's doing through walls, and we see Sigma's going up to meet them up there. You also notice that like Sigma's running away now, and then in a moment here your Sigma's dead, and then now at this moment we should know for certain that how is Sigma gonna be dead to a Reinhardt if and we saw that he was up here, right? So just visual information of like okay, that means that Reinhardt's up here on the high ground, right? So it's just the visual information of knowing that we kind of sit here still, and we're kind of sitting here still, and then we finally react, right? It's just very, very delayed, and by that time the fight's done. Also, I don't. Let me think through that. I also think that maybe we might not even want to start up all the way over here. The reason being, we want to like they have a couple different routes that they can take. They can take top or left. They can take mid or bottom, right? And maybe positioning somewhere like over here in this high ground would give us more variety to be able to pick and choose where we're positioning and where we're going, or even like positioning top left. We might be able to do the exact same thing. So we might be able to like maybe do a sneaky pulse like from behind if they go up top, or if they go main. This gives us really good options. But being all the way around right side just really doesn't give us options at all if they do go top left, because we can't see them going top left nearly as easily, and we also can't get over to them if they do go top left. But being top left here would mean that we can get them if they go top left, we can get them if they go main, we can get them if they go bottom, and it's also going to be decently easy to see when they do. Same thing as if we were like anywhere else, but so being on the right side here probably just isn't where we want to be. We also react very slowly to it, make sure we're paying attention to kill feed, paying attention to our teammates through walls. Make sure we're not relying on our teammates, so we're like peeking and checking and looking and listening so that we know like where they're going. So that was definitely an awareness kind of an awareness thing that just lost us and also positioning, I'd probably say is what kind of what lost that fight.
Yeah, and I don't really know about this pulse mom. I think it was like, okay, I'm not doing a lot on Tracer. I just want to get rid of this ult so I can switch.
So do we swap here?
I think I do.
Okay.
And right here, I'm just trying to like, can I do anything to the backline?
Alright, so we do swap to McCree, alright.
Has reached the checkpoint.
When I went over this replay myself just to see if it was good, I noticed that a lot of the flaws I make are positioning, but I don't really know where to position instead.
Alright. So on there specifically on Tracer, I think that yeah, I think we can talk a little bit about that here. We're at 4 minutes, so why don't we talk a little bit about Tracer positioning? Yeah, the big thing there is just that we want to position to where we can like catch them no matter which direction they come in. But let's talk about like the first point, right? Just like how Tracer likes to position. Tracer likes to position on the side angles, right? She doesn't like to come in from the front. This honestly wasn't. This is only something that I saw like the one time in the very beginning of the first fight, right? But we'll still go over it anyways. Is just don't come in from the frontal angle. From here, they have the most time to react to flashbang or to stun us and to shoot at us, and we're gonna die a lot easier from here. And therefore it's just not going to be very good for us. But whereas like if we come in from a side angle or from behind, now we get the surprise advantage, so they don't know we're coming, so it basically gives us a free second or two before they react to us. It means that because of that, they can't just stun us and damage us for free while we're coming in. This also means that we create a crossfire effect like we discussed before, and we can also immediately get to their backline. We can get to their supports and their DPS rather than trying to just farm the tanks on the front line. So coming from the side is just going to be the angle in which we want to take, and we didn't do that on the first point. Now, besides that, just we want to make sure that we're not positioning ourselves like on the opposite side of the map, banking on them coming one direction. Now, I guess sometimes you can if you like are almost certain that they're going to try to come that direction, like maybe you're predicting that they're going to go there, but obviously that prediction was wrong in the last fight, and you might be better off just going for a direction in which it's how do I say this? It's more it gives you more visibility and more better ability to reach them no matter where they're coming from, like we discussed in the lobby. Now I think we haven't gotten to a ton of other positional stuff yet, so why don't we just keep going and we'll see maybe some positional stuff with our McCree. But yeah, we were just there in that last fight. We were way too far away from everything that was happening, which meant that we weren't able to participate.
Yeah.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
You look tired.
Oh, make sure we're paying attention to Reinhardt, who's shattered on the ground there. Reinhardt is very, very low here. He is shattered, and we're trying to shoot the Mercy, and Reinhardt's 1 HP to our left. So make sure that we're acknowledging that. We still have 2 shots left in our gun, and we kind of back up for no reason. All right. Okay, so let's go through strengths and weaknesses real quick because I think that we have gone through a little bit enough. Or at least some of them we're definitely going to need to see more of, but we'll kind of get into them as they come. Ability usage, honestly, not too terrible from what I've seen. Like our tracer ability usage, like honestly, one of the biggest things so far is that we're just our awareness and positioning is really ruining a lot of our ability to even participate and do things. Now, like ability usage when we were actually in fight wasn't that bad at all. So ability usage so far, no issue. Probably. So we're going kind of at a here. We're going over a priority of like low to high. Ability usage is going to be at a low priority for now. Might go up, but it's a low priority. Ultimate usage, I've only seen one of, and uh, we did use it in a fight that was being lost. But besides that, I just need to see more ults. So we'll keep that one for now, kind of like around a medium or a low to medium probably, and then we'll adjust it as we see more. Mechanics, just generally the big one is just hitting more headshots and making sure we're aiming head level, but besides that, just general tracking is fine. No real main issues with that. And then we haven't talked about anything else. So for now, that one's going at a kind of a low to medium, maybe even a medium if we see more things that go into that category. And then the big ones are positioning and awareness. Awareness specifically, like we've just been not really paying attention to much of what's going on around us. Like there's bit like making sure that we're focusing on where is our team, where is the enemy team, watching kill feed, paying attention to not going in when we don't have teammates alive. What are some other ones like we paying attention to the Reinhardt when he shattered on the ground in 1 HP, paying attention to which direction they're coming from. Just a lot of different awareness things that are feeding into us either going in at the wrong times, dying, feeding into our ability to actually just do things and shoot at the right things and whatnot. So um, keep in mind that awareness is pretty important. When you don't know what's happening around you, you are incapable of making good decisions. It's just how it works. When you do know what's going on around you, you can make good decisions. Therefore, right? But at the moment, we're not seeming too good at knowing what's going on around us. So we want to make sure we're paying attention and looking around more often. And then that one's going in at probably a high priority for now. And then positioning wise, I don't think we've gone into a ton of concrete stuff yet on like what it is that we're actually needing to work on besides just like not coming in from the front as tracer and then not standing so far on the side positioning wise. But I am noticing that it is looking like it does need work. So we'll definitely get into more of that as we go, I believe. But for now, we'll just put that at a medium to high priority to work on, and we'll just keep going here. Okay, make sure that if we're going on flanks that we're being quiet and not super loud. So that means that maybe we don't want to shoot if we're like, that shot didn't connect with anything, wasn't going to kill anything, and it didn't do anything but just reveal our position and show them we're on the side. Also, don't punch because that's loud and it's going to reveal your position, and don't jump, that's going to be loud and reveal your position, and don't just walk normally. Instead, what you're going to want to do is crouch, or if you're trying to go fast, you can crouch spam, where you just kind of spam crouch on crouch, crouch on crouch, and then you're going to keep walking while you do that. But the big thing here is that we just want to be quiet because we don't want them to know we're here. That just gives us a surprise advantage if they don't know we're here. But if they do know we're here, that's going to make it very easy for them to kill us because they can just all turn around and look at us. So that this is just, and then we spray too, which maybe can be a little bit loud, and then we roll, which again is very loud. So just be quieter while we're on this flank angle that we're going for. Make sure that the first target we're going to shoot at is not the Reinhardt. Now we haven't gone a ton into this, but so again, this is just kind of like a quick thing, and we'll go more into depth on this if we need to. But just for the moment, keep in mind that when it comes to target priority of what do we want to shoot at, tanks aren't that. We want to be shooting at DPS and supports. And so that means that when we're coming in on a flank, going for these guys would be a lot more effective than going for Reinhardt because Reinhardt's not going to die very easily to you. Same thing with if McCree's being pocketed by a Mercy. Mercy's just the better thing to go for because You're not going to be able to kill McCree nearly as easily if he's being pocketed than a Mercy, if because she can't pocket herself. Okay, very nice. Oh, make sure we're flashbanging. Besides that, nothing else.
Back in the saddle again.
I noticed here with my McCree, the crosshair placement is also very low here as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I also noticed that I go around here a lot, which isn't really a good position to be in a lot since you have a Hanzo, right?
Yeah, this positioning is all right. I don't think it's like fantastic, but I also don't think it's terrible. That's why I'm not commenting on it. One thing I would say is you might want to like unbind your spray if it's such a habit that you're doing it every couple of seconds. I've seen people like that, and honestly, it's gonna do nothing but just get in your way and act as a distraction. So competitive, like if you're just doing that just for fun, if you're playing casually and you enjoy it, then no issues there. But if you're trying to improve and play competitively, then this is going to be nothing but distract you. And for example, is something that can get in the way of awareness, as time that you're spending doing this and paying attention to your sprays is time that you could be paying attention to your environment. Like if we're looking at the ground and looking onto the wall to spray multiple times every couple of seconds, that's time that we could be listening and looking at kill feed and looking through walls and paying attention to our environment. So that's just, I would probably recommend like just unbinding the key and until you just lose the habit to press it. And then maybe you can rebind it if it's no longer a habit. But at the moment, it's just a bad habit, I would say, because it's doing nothing. It's in fact, it's not just not beneficial for you. It's also probably going to be worse for you because you're not going to you're going to be messing up your awareness and things that you could be doing. All right.
I don't really know why I would try and take poke shots from here.
Yeah, probably don't want to be doing that just because it's such a far distance. You'd be much better just sitting up here on the high ground. Yeah, like that. Jumping around the flank again.
And
Out of sync with our
here,
team, right? Like notice how like by the time that we're participating and fighting, picks are already flying. The fight has begun. All right.
I don't really
We're
know why
fine.
I would stay here at this point.
Yeah.
Like at that time, would it be better to go like the small passage to the right there, or just drop down and try to get a little bit closer to them from
Yep.
behind?
Either or. But it also I'd probably say we just might be best to just sit on the front line, to be honest, rather than go from that angle. Now you can go from that angle, but like especially if you keep doing it, it can become predictable, and then very easily countered if they're just paying attention to you. Now let's talk about some stuff here. So ranges, because it seems like we're struggling with that slightly on McCree and on Tracer. So why don't we go over that a little bit? On McCree and Tracer, on both characters you have what you call fall off damage. So that means the further away we get, the less damage we're doing. And a lot of times we're just playing too dang far from people. McCree prefers a medium range, so that is roughly like 10 meters ish to, or sorry, let me rephrase that. He's a medium to close to medium range character. Mess that up. Close to medium range character, so he prefers like 10-ish meters to like 30 meters ish. Doesn't want to get too close because there's just other characters who do that better than him. Think Reaper, Ryan, May, right? Just there's better characters that do close range, though he can do close range. And then he doesn't like to play far range. The reason being that he does less and less damage the further away he is. Right, when we're standing right here, we do 1, 2, 3 shots. We move just a couple inches away, and now it takes 1, 2, 3, 4 shots, right? And then we move further away, and it takes us 5 shots, and then we move further away, and now it's going to take us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots. Also, on top of that, right, it's very difficult to hit shots at this range because you don't have a scope, you don't have a lowered sensitivity, and it's harder to hit shots on smaller targets, right? That's just that's just kind of a fact of how it works, right? It's easier to hit a barn than it is to hit a needle. So it's a lot harder to hit this than it is to hit this guy, right? When he's right next to us, that guy's really far away, and it's going to mean that you're going to be a lot more inaccurate, as well as just doing less damage overall. So range, we just want to make sure we're sticking within this range. We're not playing too far away, which we are a couple times, which means that we want to have a better range. Tracer is even closer than that. She doesn't do 30 meters. Like from back here, we're doing nothing. We're doing tickle damage. Look at this damage, right? We're not doing anything at all, right? It takes us like 4 clips to get through to somebody. Now, when we're a little bit closer, it does a lot more. So I'd probably say Tracer is going to be more. So like she really prefers 10 meters. She can play closer than that, but her preferred range is going to be 10 meters right here, because this is her blink range, which is going to allow her to do blink melees as well as blink pulse bombs. It's going to allow her to do her maximum damage with her gun. And further than that is like acceptable. I'd probably say like max would be like 20 meters, but no, even here, look how much damage you do. So I'd probably say max 15 meters is gonna be the maximum of the distance you can play, because we can still do like pretty much a 1 clip from here, right? This would be preferred. This is acceptable, especially if you're trying to like, depending on the situation, right? But a lot of times you just be kind of poking from over here, which isn't the range we want to be poking from, because we're just doing nothing, right? So that's just ranges on our characters.
Traveling to Route ready for battle.
And so here we're just way too far away. Like, we probably want to be getting a lot closer. We're just not really participating very much. Okay, here, I think we're going to have to talk about this just because it's seeming like it's coming up multiple times. So let's talk about how to tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight and what to do when you have. Make sure, first off, just make sure you're paying attention to kill feed. This is how you tell whether or not you won or lost a fight. When you are up 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage. When you have an advantage, you can play more aggressively because they have less people to shoot at you and do damage and to heal and to tank. When you are up 2 to 3 people, that is a 1 fight. When you have won a fight, you no longer want to use ults because that'd just be over ulting, and you want to look to go super aggressive so you can go and get stagger kills and finish them off. When you are down, this also goes the exact opposite way. When you are down 1 to 2 people, that is a disadvantage. When you're at a disadvantage, you don't want to be playing as aggressive. You want to be playing passive. Now, you didn't lose the fight, but you are losing the fight. Right? Now, when you are down 2 to 3 people, which is this situation exactly, when it's a 1, 2, 3 versus a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is a lost fight. And at that point, you want to look to not use any ults, because that would just be it wouldn't change a thing. It wouldn't change that you lost the fight. And then on top of that, you want to look to get out if possible. Or if not possible, you want to just let them kill you. At the moment, it is very possible for us to just escape and stay away from them. We have no reason to just run into them. And we don't want to be engaging when the fight is lost, because this is just going to stagger us. Are you familiar with the term staggering?
Yeah.
Yep, and we just don't want that to be happening, so we just want to make sure that we're not going in when we're down 3 people, right? Which is what we're doing, which means that we're not paying attention to kill feed. And then now we stagger, and then now we're going to be coming out of spawn by the time they're about to cap point, right? And then that means that we're not coming out of spawn. Like, look, your whole team's fighting the fight while we're walking out of spawn. Yeah, very nice. I like the high noon there, but we kind of roll out in the open. Again, this is just kind of a quick thing that I'll add in, though we'll talk about it more in depth if we need to, like if it becomes a continuing problem. But in general, good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover. What that means is when we are right here, it takes us half of a second where we go, boop, they can't see us. Boop, they can't see us, right? That means that we have very high survivability and we can survive very easily. When we are standing right here, there's nowhere we can go anytime soon that's going to keep us alive, and therefore we are going to die very easily, right? And there's no reason currently for us to touch cart when we have Reinhardt touching cart, when we have Mercy on cart, we have Sigmund on our near cart, and when also we could probably come up left side, which would be maybe give us a little bit more cover up until we touch cart, right? So it's just rolling straight onto the open, which was unnecessary, and then we get melted very insanely fast. All right. So we're swapping over to the Genji. What characters do you play? Okay.
Most of the time I've played is Genji. Back in the before I got like 350, I used or just 300. I used to basically one trick Genji.
Mm.
As to why my hours are so different,
Yeah. So.
because Genji is 140 hours over my
Mm.
second most played hero.
So I was just mainly asking because we were like swapping between 3 characters in one round, but I was like, I just went and checked your 5 real quick, and that was like the only 3 characters you listed. So I was just making sure it wasn't like you trying to play like 6, 7 different characters all at the same time, which I usually recommend against. But that's that. I was just checking.
Yeah, I've heard about not wanting to play at maximum 4 characters in a whole match.
Yeah. I mean, in a match, but then also just in general, like you want to limit yourself to 2 to 3 characters. Which, if you're doing that, then that's completely fine. But you just want to limit yourself so that you can kind of get your max play time on them and get used to how they play and their play styles and whatnot.
The
Again, you can.
deflector was just because most hands-ups I've noticed, just like as fast as you see a target, they just drop the arrow.
Yep, no problem with
So
that.
I just jump out, deflect, and then try to get to some kind of cover.
Yep. I'm just noting the crosshair placement again, just how we're aiming like really low to the ground on people, and then that's just meaning that we're not aiming head level.
Would you just give me a second?
Whoa. What you, I couldn't hear what you're saying over that. I'm assuming you want to take a pause.
No, it was just my friend trying to call me about him wanting to play.
All right. So you're ready to continue?
I'll just mute. I just put my phone on airplane mode.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, yeah, we can continue.
All right, there. Do we not see his health bar? Cause wait, let's rewatch that a little bit. So here we're on the Reinhardt in a moment. So we look down at Reinhardt, and he is getting shredded. He is 1 HP. Just dash through him. Pay attention to his health bar. It's seeming as if sometimes we're not paying attention to health bars, such as when the Reinhardt was 1 HP a second, or like another time on the defense when we were on McCree. Here we just don't pay attention to his health bar, and we could just dash through him here, and then we still could dash through him here, and then we still could dash through him here. Now he gets in a lamp, but then in a moment here he's going to be outside of it. Now he's outside of it, still could be dashing through him, right? And then we still could be dashing through him, and then we just don't ever there. Make sure we're dashing to just finish off targets, so that's going to be a pretty effective way to finish off targets. And good job getting healed before we were re-engaging.
And I looked down into the ground there when I was walking away just to dodge getting a random headshot from the hands over in the back head.
Nice aggression, I like it. Very nice.
I think at this point, here I was debating, is it worth ulting this or should I just keep it?
I mean,
It felt
currently,
like
probably worth ulting it. When it comes to ultimate, do you use your ultimate in any fight that? I mean, it depends. Maybe if we get the McCree, but honestly, I don't see a problem with it because currently it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if we include the McCree, that's 5. So this is still, I probably would say this is still decently losable. You can pretty much ult in any fight that has not been won or lost yet, right? You just want to make sure you're not holding on to it and never using it. Here also we just kind of keep healing, shooting the Baptiste when there's a Mercy on top of him. Now was Mercy Valking a second ago? Is that what she was doing?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So she was Valking here, and we're shooting at and we're going for the Baptiste. Right. So we're going on the Baptiste. We're going on the Bap. Right. He's getting pocketed.
It was just
Now.
because he was the only target I actually saw because I didn't notice the McCree behind.
I'd probably say make sure paying attention to the Mercy because her Valk does end here, and then that means that we can probably swap to her and she'd be an easier target to kill than the Baptiste, right? Because like Mercy can't heal herself, and Mercy is just a better pocket healer than Baptiste is. Baptiste is going to be a lot harder for him to heal the Mercy than it is for Mercy to heal Baptiste. Baptiste also has self healing, right? Whereas Mercy, at least if you're damaging her, isn't going to have self healing, right? So maybe just go swap to the Mercy instead. And now after they get that res 100%, we probably should be going for a blade, because
I was also trying to communicate with the Anna to Nano Blade
but she ends up
as
nanoing
to
onto
why
it.
I didn't really blade before.
Which honestly, beforehand it was up in the air whether or not we needed it, but now we definitely do need it. So probably want to be going for it, even if we don't have a nano. There we see nano in front of us. We shatter. We get some picks. So now we're again deciding maybe we don't need it.
I don't know why I tried to bring up the deflect there. It's just one of the habits, I guess. Like shoot and always use an ability.
Yeah.
And I think I would have died to that Rhine either way, so I was trying to get a small chance of actually getting the
Yeah.
escape.
The thing maybe I was thinking there is just might not want to engage and get super aggro when you only have 100 HP, so pay attention to your health bar. Nice kill. Okay, seems like we kind of have our aggression down on our Genji, like we know when to engage. And we also looks like we have a good grasp on when to left click versus right click on Genji, so mechanics isn't too big of an issue, though we still want to make sure we're hitting headshots and aiming head level, because again, you kind of notice how we're walking around aiming down, right?
I think
Now,
that low key comes from the spraying all the time, just
yeah.
cause me flicking down all the time to spray, and then I'm just not bringing the crosser up the whole way.
Yep, that's definitely could be it.
Well, I'll make sure to unbind that fucking spray
Yeah.
after this.
Alright.
Now, I feel really uncomfortable blading without nano, just cause
Okay, well
I
now we
don't
do.
really have a good rhythm.
Now we do currently have nano. Okay, but she
Yeah.
nanos the Reinhardt. Are you? Was she in chat? Were you trying to communicate it with her?
Yeah, I was trying to tell every time I saw her get close to nano, I would be like, okay, save nano, we can nano blade in the next fight.
And
Or like this fight.
Was she in chat?
Yeah, she was in chat, but I'm unsure if she actually heard the calls, because I noticed some flat players, or me included sometimes, just plays the game without any sound.
Yeah.
Or like without comm sound.
Yeah. So honestly, not sure. So in that situation, then that's just really unfortunate. If you notice that she's just not giving you nanos, you're just going to have to go for blades without the nanos. So if this has happened 2 times in a row, we had to go. Okay, she's probably not going to be nanoing me. I'm just going to go for it, even if she doesn't have it. Because that's really unfortunate, that she's not going for you, because that'd be such an easy combo. But in this situation, we probably should just go for blade without it. And now.
Yeah.
Alright, we get shattered.
I am ready. I need healing.
My Lucio come to me here that was going behind me, that's why I didn't try to camp the health back there.
Alright, so here we're gonna be going for a blade.
The Rhine just really scared me going to try and blade there, also because of damage boost on that. It would just been 2 slams.
Alright, so in this instance, probably would be best if we kind of sat up top right. This would get us right next to them within blade range without revealing our position. At the moment, we do not need spam damage at all, so just spamming in here isn't going to be doing anything but revealing our position and losing a surprise advantage. Whereas let's say we're right here and we come in for a blade, now this is we have a much higher chance of succeeding with the blade, because now they don't know where the heck we are, and then like we discussed before on our tracer, they're not going to be able to just stun us and shoot us very easily. We also leave cover and walk very far out into the open here, which puts us in very bad positioning, and then we also just don't use our ultimate again and get super aggressive. Here we could probably, if we wanted to, go on the Mercy, maybe we could dash up here Dash at the Mercy, she might try to fly away. We can ult her and like follow her wherever she's going here, or we could do the same thing on the Bap and the McCree, but we just don't ult. And then we also just like get super aggressive on nothing in particular. Like we don't have any. Usually, like how Genji works is he is an opportunist. He gets aggressive when he has an opportunity, when someone's low, when someone's out of position, when when you have team support, right? When you make someone low with your ability, like, or with your damage, right? Or when you have your ultimate, you can get aggressive. But here we just don't really have anything to get aggressive off of, and then therefore we just die.
Yeah.
So just a lot of things that add up.
Yeah.
Unnecessary poking, not bleeding. This is now the
Against that pre, I think most of the time I see this like with just Kreese overall around this rank that as fast as they see me, they try to stun.
Mhm.
So I just instantly pull up my deflect.
Yep. The
Uh,
other thing you should probably be looking to do is to get above him. So this works a couple different ways. So first off, you can dash up at his head level rather than dashing low to the ground. And then what this will do is will put you above him. Whenever you're above a McCree, it becomes 2 times harder for him to actually flash you because it just puts you at a really awkward angle, which means that he has to literally hit you directly with the flashbang for it to register. He can't just like flash the ground or anything like that. And then on top of that, even if you can't dash above him, you probably want to jump above him. And then what this does is, again, it makes it more difficult for him to actually land the flash. And then if he can't land the flash, you win the duel against McCree. At least for the most part, like that's his number one thing that he can use to beat you in the duel. And to outplay it, you can look to just get above him because that's just the most difficult way for him to actually hit you. Now, this is fight number 3 that we've gone without using our ultimate. And we also went 2 fights beforehand with Pulse Bomb, right, without using it. So it looks like we're just not using ultimates. We want to make sure we are because ultimates don't get value if we don't use them. Like Blade has done literally nothing so far because we just haven't used it. Whereas by now we probably could have had 2 blades, possibly 3 blades. In that amount of time that we used 0 blades, right? Which is pretty nuts to think about because a blade is a pretty powerful ultimate. You can get a whole lot of value out of that. So we want to make sure we're actually using it because it doesn't do any value. So ultimates now is going up probably, and then we used pulse in a fight that was lost before we were down people. So I'd probably say ultimate usage is going up to like a medium, maybe a medium high.
I think somewhere around here we just try to C9 them by going around.
Very
Because
nice.
I think that would be a move for some reason here.
Okay, it looks like I'd probably say we're a lot more like our ability usage in Genji's 2 is looking really solid. So ability usage is definitely looking like our best thing that we're good at. And then everything else is looking like it needs a lot of work. Again, want to use our ultimate. Now it's too late. We've already won the fight. Oh, make sure we're hitting the dash.
By the way, just an overall question about
Mhm.
gameplay. Do you have any tips for like finding a good sense? Because at the moment, since I kind of recently started playing McCree and Tracer, I've been trying to find a good sense that could work for both McCree, Tracer, and Genji. Because with
Yeah.
my Genji, I like to have a really quick sense, just like look around quickly and just like do 180s and such. And the same with Tracer, kinda.
Mhm.
But with McCree, I prefer to have more of a slower sense.
Okay.
But
Well, if
I,
you would prefer to have a different sensitivity on them, just remember that's an option, and you can have. Personally, I'd say that I play all 3 of those characters decently well. And I keep the same sensitivity across all of them. Now, if you would prefer to have different sensitivities, that is definitely an option. I just was never one for that. Um, but yeah, you can just go and alter their sensitivities differently. But then yes, I can link you a video real quick that just goes over how you can find sensitivities easily.
okay, yeah, that would really be helpful.
Yeah, one moment. Yeah, okay, so I just sent that to you. This is just what I used when I was looking for my sensitivity, and it basically just walks you through like how you can basically do through you go through like kind of a process that might take a little bit, but you just kind of mess around with a bunch of different sensitivities until you find one that you like. Um, so that yep, you just walk through the video and it'll show you how it works.
Okay. Here I'm once again calling to my Anna for an anime just because I still feel really insecure about playing on my own.
Mm,
And that's partly because of my time on console. I played around high diamond, and obviously that was because my mechanics on console,
mm,
because I had played a lot of games before around the same mechanics as Genji.
mm,
But with that, I always felt like I needed a nano just because I was always up against either Senna or Lucio, and
mm,
I just can't do anything with my with Blade normally against those if they ult.
mm. Yeah. So if they do have a Zen or Lucio, right, and you have Blade, you have a couple different things that you can do, or even if they don't, right, like you get a couple different things, right. First off, there's gonna be times where you just have Blade and they don't have a beat or trance. There's also you can look to target them and kill them before you go for an ultimate, or in your ultimate sometimes even like if sometimes for like a Lucio you might be even to, be able to kill him before he goes for it. 'Cause, like even with a like a Nano Blade for example, you can target a Lucio to kill him first before he can get off beat. Also, on top of that, you can look to bait out a trance or a beat by like dashing straight up in the air, which can sometimes trick them into thinking you're going for a blade, and then they just beat or trance, and then yeah, now you're good. You can also just wait it out if like you have another big ultimate that they might use trance or beat for, so you can wait until they've used it, or you can just pop your ultimate and use it to kind of to bait out the ultimate and just don't get too super aggro. Just kind of play in the front line, kind of like play as like a brawl character with it. You just play on top of your like Reinhardt, for example, and just like sit there with your ultimate and not don't use it for too much in particular, but just bait it out. But anything's better than holding on to it for 3 fights in a row, because holding on to it for 3 fights in a row does literally nothing, right? Here we just kind of sit on the front line. Remember that we can't do that because we're not a tank. And then as a
Yeah,
result, we die here for it. Just
here I was
yeah.
practically half kind of screaming for Anna to please fucking nano me. Oh wait, sorry. Is it okay if I swear and such? Because I just do it on instinct.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Because I was basically just screaming to Anna, just nano me at this point, please.
Yep. If she's not going to, not much you can do. Like, but to make it easier for her, you can maybe dash. Like, I don't know. Like, if she's not doing it on you and she's looking straight at you, I would assume that she's just for some reason not wanting to. But you can dash up in the air to make it easier for her. But yeah, besides that, it just seems as if she doesn't want to, and we maybe want to identify that faster because there were 2 fights in a row where she didn't nano us. So at this point, like we should almost certainly know this Ana's not going to be nanoing us, right? That's just the fact of the matter. Now that's now 4 fights that we haven't used Blade in. Let's just go see. Let's see, because we're. Oh, okay, she finally nanos us. Okay, so now we use
Yeah.
Blade.
I was going to firstly like just try and do a dash and then 180 onto the Lucio there.
Hmm.
But then I just got stunned in the middle of it because I wasn't ability tracking,
Yeah.
which I probably should win.
Which yeah, I don't know. Did we call for that one, or did Ana just nano
No,
us?
I did not call for that.
Yeah. Okay. So
She just did
that's
it out of nowhere,
yeah.
and I was
That's
like, "Oh, what? Okay, sure."
yeah. That's unfortunate.
And
Honestly,
then I
not much
just
we can
went
do.
super aggro.
Like I can't blame you because the timing was mainly the honest fault. I probably would say like you just wanted to wait an extra couple of seconds, but that's not on you. Just because you engaged like because she popped the man on you, you guys kind of engaged before your whole team was ready, right? But besides that, the only thing I would say is just make sure we're actually using our ultimate. Now let's go leave here. We're gonna go over a review and then go over the main points and also wrap up the session after that. So across all our different characters, right? We're on like 3 different characters here. Well, let's see. Let's start off. We'll go from top to bottom. Main points. Number 1 was awareness. There's just a ton of stuff in awareness that really added up. Multiple different things, right? First off, pay attention to where's my team at, where's the enemy team at, right? There's a ton of times where we just wouldn't notice like where enemy players were at or where our team was at, and we'd make bad decisions accordingly. Like we'd go in without them when they were like all dead, or we would, we wouldn't pay attention to where the enemy team was going, and then they would be on the other side of the map, right? So we just want to pay attention to that. We also want to pay attention to kill feed. Kill feed's the top right corner of your screen, right? Just as a quick reminder, it's 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. You play aggressive or passive accordingly. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight. No ults in a won or lost fights. And in a won fight, you're looking to get super aggressive. And in a lost fight, you're looking to get out or let them kill you. If you can't get out, right, that's just how it works. And and make sure you're not going in when you've already lost a fight, because there are multiple times where we would kind of go in and just die when it's essentially just giving them like for free, right? Like that we just let them do it for no reason, like when we'd already lost the fight, right? We just went in without any teammates. So make sure paying attention to how many teammates we have with us, sync up with their team, make sure going in at the same time as them and not going in super separately. That's why, for example, like even though it wasn't your fault, that's why, for example, like the blade in the end didn't work, because you just went in without any of your teammates, and then they were all able to focus you down, right? Not your fault there, but it was your fault in other instances, right? Now, besides that, pay attention to health bars of the enemy players, because there are multiple times where we didn't notice people were low HP when they were. Besides that, pay attention to when you are low, so that when we're low, we're not just going in and playing aggro still, but we're looking to get healed and we're requesting healing. And then I think that is mainly it. That was a lot of stuff, right? Make sure paying attention to it. Now, you might be saying, let's get into this real quick before we can move on to other things, but you might be saying like, well, Boogie, awareness seems like kind of a vague thing. How does one get better at awareness? I don't know, how does one even do that, right? Well, it's the same way that you get better at anything you're looking to try to get better at, right? And that is, while you're playing, you're going to focus on it. So what that looks like is we're going to be thinking in our head, awareness, right? We're not going to autopilot. We're not going to be focusing just on winning. We're not going to be just playing to play, but we're going to be really, really focusing and putting a lot of attention and effort into looking around us and paying attention. And you'll notice that as we put attention and effort and into it, it's going to start to be a little bit better, right? Our awareness is going to be a little bit better, and then over time that'll form as a habit. And once it forms as a habit, now you don't need to focus on it as much, and you can move on to something else. Now, don't do everything all at once. We went over a bunch of things. Don't try to fit everything in all at once. Instead, focus on one category of things, or 1 to 3 smaller things inside a category, right? And that's how you're looking to improve on anything you're going over here. Okay, number 2 main point is going to be, let's see, what was number 2? Honestly, I'm going to put number 2 at ultimate usage. There were some other things in some of the other categories, but I think positioning honestly wasn't as terrible as we had initially made it out to be. But we'll put number 2 at ultimate usage. We just didn't use them, and then therefore they didn't do very much. We held on to our blade for 4 fights in a row, and then we held on to pulse bomb for a fight, and then we also used ultimates in lost fights sometimes. So make sure we aren't ulting in lost fights, and we're paying attention to that. And then that's pretty much it for ults. Then moving on to probably say number 3 is going to be positioning. Positioning wise, make sure we're using cover properly. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure that we are not always going for flanks, especially like on McCree. We're like kind of going on flanks all the time. Make sure we're not doing that, but we're spending some time like just taking some off angles instead of going all the way on flanks, because flanks aren't always gonna be what you want to be doing. Make sure that we're sitting on the side as Tracer and not coming in from the frontal angle. And make sure that we are also not playing super far away on our characters, but we're keeping a healthy mid-range on McCree and a healthy like close range on Tracer, right? Now moving on to number 4, I would probably say comes in at mechanics. Make sure we're aiming at head level and keeping good crosshair placement so we can hit headshots, which are going to be doing a lot more than just body shots. Right. Besides that, make sure that we or just keeping in mind good target priorities. Sometimes you just go on the wrong targets. Like it wasn't all the time, but just make sure we're not going on tanks like first thing, but we're going on supports and DPS instead. And if as a DPS is being pocketed or anybody being pocketed by another support, make sure we're focusing that support first. Like we were focusing McCree when he's being pocketed by Mercy, and we were focusing on like Baptiste when he was being pocketed by Mercy, so focus the Mercy first. Then finally, last one is coming in ability usage. Just a couple times where we misused them, but besides that, honestly, really good. So we might not even need to worry about that one too much. All right. So any questions about anything we've gone over?
No, not really. Everything seems clear and easily instructed, I guess.
All right. So then I'm just going to